Hey, thanks so much again for joining me here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast. Today we are venturing into the Midlands, but before that, I wanted to give you a quick tip. If you've ever wondered why castles and popular destinations can be so difficult to reserve, it's because tour companies pre-book these spots at least a year in advance. So, I'm even booking my 2024 spring tour accommodations right now. So it's never too early to begin your own planning. And I have the resources to help you plan every step of the way. The Planning Your Ireland Vacation series here on the Traveling in Ireland podcast begins in episode 125 and guides you step by step to create your own amazing Ireland vacation. If you want to see the series in order, visit IrelandFamilyVacations.com/planning. So today, my guest is Aubrey Hutchinson, and Aubrey is the owner of Abby Leak's Chauffeur Services. Now, Aubrey lives in County Laois, and I think it's probably safe to say that many, if not most, visitors to Ireland don't know anything about this county. So, Aubrey, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Jody. Great to be on, and thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be a guest. As you've introduced me, my name is Aubrey Hutchinson from Leak's Chauffeur Services, and I partner with Jody to provide a driver guide service for the whole of Ireland.
Excellent. So let's start by just giving people an idea of, where County Laois is. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, Jody, of course. County Laois is in the heart of Ireland. It's the most inland county on the island of Ireland, so it's very centrally located. The population of Laois is around 85,000 people, and it covers approximately 664 square miles. So just to give you an idea of proximity, the beautiful little city of Kilkenny is 30 minutes away. Our capital, Dublin, is approximately 1 hour. Limerick is an hour and 15. One of the largest county in Ireland, Cork, is 2 hours. Galway to the west of us, 2 hours away. And very much in the news at the moment, we were delighted to have your President Biden in our country, our little country at the moment. So I've been watching his progress on the news in the last couple of days, and he was in Carlingford, County Laois yesterday. And President Biden's ancestral home, that's where his great-great-grandfather Owen Finnegan came from. So that's 2 hours from the county of Laois. Belfast in Northern Ireland is approximately 2 hours 40. And then you have, I'm going to mention Mr. Biden again, Ballina, County Mayo, his ancestral home on his other side as well. His great-great-grandfather, Patrick Blewett, came from there. So that's 2 hours, 50 minutes away.
So very central, because if you drive, let's say from the Giant's Causeway, let's say all the way south to Cork, which I don't ever recommend doing in one day because it's a lot of miles to travel. Doesn't seem like it would be, but that's nearly a full day's drive. It's a good 5.5 or 6 hours. So Laois is very central and, maybe even a good place to consider basing if you don't mind some good day trips.
Absolutely. Totally agree. It's very, very central, Jody. So we're quite blessed in that regard.
So one of my favorite places to recommend or take my tours is actually found in County Laois. It's a spot that is managed by the Office of Public Works, but it's an open site. There's no visitor center, nobody taking tickets, but it's a wonderful place to explore. And that is the Rock of Dunamace. I feel like it's one of those places where, Ireland has these thin places where you can kind of feel the power of it, as woo-woo as that sounds. But the Rock of Dunamace is definitely one of those spots for me. So can you share your thoughts on that? I would love to hear them.
Absolutely. Just to elaborate on that, Jody, yeah, the Rock of Dunamace is it's one of my favourite places to take my tours. It's such a wonderful and serene spot, very, very calm up there. It just has a bit of an aura around it, I always feel, when I'm up there with my tours. It's an historic site near the village of Stradbally. Believe it or not, dates back to the 9th century. It was originally a Viking settlement. So the site was later used, I believe, as a fortress by the Anglo-Normans, and they built a large stone castle on top of the hill in the 12th century. So from the top of the rock, visitors, you can really enjoy panoramic views of the surrounding countryside, and that would include the Sleep Bloom Mountains and the nearby towns of Portlaoise and Stradbally.
Yeah, and the views are absolutely incredible up there. You do feel like you're on top of the world, but even more than that, I almost feel like it's one of the few ruins in Ireland that you really can just fully explore. There's nobody there to tell you you can't climb on something. So it's kind of like, do everything at your own risk and know that one wrong step you could fall a little ways depending on where you are. But it's just such a magnificent sight.
It's beautiful up there. It really is. And, if you get a clear day, you can see a lot of County Laois. You can actually see County Carlow as well from up there. So, you can see back in the day why they chose that spot to have their fortress, because it really is a very dominant position right up on the hill.
Yeah. And if I'm remembering, that was given to Strongbow when he married Aoife. And it really was kind of a center. It was very much a center of power and strength.
Yes, I believe so. That is correct, Jody. Yeah, it was.
Such a great spot.
Yeah.
So, what else would the curious tourist find in County Laois?
Yeah, so I guess from a curious tourist point of view in County Laois, Laois has something to offer everyone. First of all, I have to mention Emo Court. It's a beautiful, large neoclassical mansion that's located near Portlaoise. So I think the beauty of being located in Laois, everything is, is quite near to you because it's quite a small county. Emo Court was built in the 18th century for the Earls of Portarlington, which is another town nearby. It is surrounded by absolutely beautiful gardens and parklands and has a charming little tea room for a post-stroll tea or coffee. The house is, I believe, currently being restored by the Irish Office of Public Works and will have new exhibits and displays to explore very, very shortly. Another, I suppose, location would be the Sleebloom Mountains, which I can see from my office window here. They're a beautiful range of hills that offer great hiking and mountain biking opportunities.
The mountain bike trails are really good there. They've really expanded those with Quelcha.
I believe around 40 to 50 miles, and it's growing as well. So they do have plans to develop the mountain bike trails in the Sleebloom Mountains as well. So very, very popular the weekends. It's a beautiful place to be. And there's also a little, well, it's not too little, it's a waterfall loop that runs around 4.5 kilometre of a trek for those of average fitness, incorporating forest trails and river walks as well. So that's a really, really nice place to go to, and it's very, very scenic. I suppose another place that a curious tourist might find very interesting is Ballykilcavan Farm and Brewery. And this place, has popped up in the last few years. It's really got going and it's won prestigious awards. So just to give you an overview, Ballykilcavan Farm and Brewery is based in Stradbally in County Laois, and it's a 13th generation family farm. David guides all the tours up there and he owns the establishment, but he can do tours in English, French and German. And the visitor gets to see the entire process, I suppose, from the barley grown on the farm to the brewing process using water from the well adjoining the farm. The brewery is a converted, I believe, 240-year-old grain store, and the tasting room is a converted 200-year-old mill. So very, very old buildings with a modern spin on them. As I mentioned there, they have rightly earned 2 national sustainability awards over the last 12 months and have won 3 medals for their beer at the prestigious Concours International de Lyon beer competition. So again, Ballykilcavan Farm and Brewery would be, I suppose, one of the go-to spots as well in County Laois. I have to mention Timahoe as well. Great little village, great community spirit, and that's Timahoe. It's a little village, but steeped in history. And Timahoe is also home to a 12th century round tower, and it's one of the most magnificent round towers in Ireland. And I suppose it is off the beaten track a bit and wouldn't get the distinction that it deserves because it is off the beaten track. But it's one of the best preserved of its kind in Ireland. It stands at around 30 metres and it has a conical top, and it has withstood many years, many wars and battles over the centuries, I believe, including attacks from the Vikings and the English. The Viking Festival is there in June, I believe, and it's a very theatrical event, but it does draw big crowds to the locality. The local legend says that it was home to a giant who threw stones at the local visitors, believe it or not. So a bit of folklore in the little village as well, and the little kids get a kick out of that as well. So I believe the Tim Ho Tower is part of the Heritage Trail as well, showcasing Ireland's historical landmarks. So quite an important little village for the county of Laois.
I want to say that, if you're visiting anytime outside of the festival, you will truly feel like you have discovered something because there's unlikely to be anybody else there. But I feel like Timahoe was a really significant monastic site at one time, connected maybe from Clonmacnoise as along one of the monastic paths, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I think it does have that, when you're on the site, especially in around the tower, you do get that feeling that, it's just, it really is an ancient site that hasn't changed for centuries and centuries. So again, quite unique to the county of Laois.
So special. I love that.
Yeah.
So, Aubrey, you operate Abbey Leak's Chauffeur Services, which is one of my recommended private driver guide companies in Ireland. Can you talk a little bit about what a private driver guide does and the services that you offer?
Yes, of course, Jody. So I'll give you, I suppose, a bit of a flavour of what we do, and I suppose the town as well of Abbealeaks, if you don't mind. I'll just give you a quick rundown
Mhm.
on
That would be great.
where Abbealeaks Chauffeur Services is located, I suppose. So Abbealeaks, it's a beautiful little heritage town, founded in the 18th century. We'd be on the main track here from Dublin to Cork. We were before the town was bypassed in 2010. So Ivo de Vesey wanted to create a model estate town when he founded it in the 18th century. He built a number of impressive buildings around the town and structures, including a Gothic Revival church. And we have a most outstanding market house, which is, or was a market house, but is now converted into an award-winning library. And it's actually a protected structure. And you can't miss it if you're going from Dublin to Cork. It's on the right hand side, and it's well worth a visit if anyone wants to, just stop off and look at it. It's beautiful. So at one stage we had 15,000 vehicles going through our little town, but as I mentioned, since May 2010, I suppose it has been a much more pleasurable experience because you can park in the town and you can wander around at ease.
One of those places that the motorway passed by, right?
Exactly, exactly. And, if you take, for instance, I suppose one of the things that people wouldn't know about Abbealeaks is we had a carpet factory here at one stage that made the carpets for the Titanic, which met its fate this time 111 years ago. But we also carpet factory made the carpets for the RMS Olympic. So it's a bit of a claim to fame and not a well-known fact, but you'd see it in the local pub, and the little heritage house that we have in town as well here does have samples of those carpets, which is really intriguing to see because it's like walking back in time and seeing the actual carpets that, were in the Titanic and the RMS Olympic. So very, very historical.
I have a funny little connection with that to share. So, oh goodness, the original capital city of Oklahoma, which is not Oklahoma City, it's just to the north, and I've just lost the name of it. But the building that was built to be the capital is now a Masonic shrine. But the carpet company in Abbealeaks actually made those carpets as well, and they are still on the floor.
Really, really.
Mhm.
So yeah, it goes to show that the quality back years ago, it really was, it was
And they're
really, really good
beautiful.
quality. Yeah. So, and I suppose a testament to the little heritage house that we have here, that it really does feature those carpets and how they were made and the employees at the time. So everything is documented. You could go back, you could spend a lot of time in the place just looking at the records. It's absolutely amazing. So just leading on from that, Jody, yeah, I suppose Abbealeaks Chauffeur Services is fully licensed and insured as a chauffeur guide serving the whole of Ireland. So essentially we offer two guide models, but we're very, very flexible and can work around the client. So number one, we're customer led. So we accommodate the customer's client's plans and work around the places and timetables that our customer have drawn up. And I suppose number two, for those less familiar with our beautiful country, we can devise a tour plan for you, including tourist attractions, entertainment, and eating venues. So I suppose that's our core format. We tend to keep it simple.
So you really can help people if they have a few must-see spots and how to get around them, and taking them to different areas in between, showing them things that they probably didn't even have an idea of. And you not only cover that beautiful Midland of Ireland, but you can pretty much take people anywhere.
Absolutely. Very, very flexible in that regard, Jody. So we're open to, customer is king. So, we always keep to that ethos as well.
And do you have a limit on group sizes for your vehicles?
At the moment, we have a Mercedes E-Class, and we are looking into expanding the fleet in the coming weeks and months as well, Jody. So at the moment, it's Mercedes E-Class, but we are upgrading and expanding very, very shortly.
It's exciting. You're going to need a car to reach some of these recommended destinations, and I'm excited to share that my listeners receive an exclusive 10% discount from Irish Car Rentals. All you have to do is visit IrelandFamilyVacations.com/ICR, and that will take you directly to the booking page and my exclusive 10% discount. Again, that's IrelandFamilyVacations.com/ICR. Now, let's hear about these recommended destinations. So right now you're looking at 2 to 3 people, which is a nice, comfortable ride in that Mercedes sedan. For people who maybe have some thoughts of what they want to see and do, but are always open to suggestions, can you give me just a couple of the favorite places that you take people?
Absolutely. I suppose that the top three, and again, I'm quite biased here because the first one is the town of Abbeyleix. And just to, I suppose, give you an idea, Morrissey's pub, it's a traditional pub, beautiful black facade on it. You can't miss it. Anywhere I go in the country of Ireland, people ask you, where are you from? I'd say Abbeyleix, County Laois. The first thing they will always say is, do you know Morrissey's pub? And my answer is, I absolutely know Morrissey's pub because it's a beautiful traditional pub. It's one of the oldest pubs in Ireland. It has a warm and welcoming atmosphere, and visitors can expect to be greeted by, really friendly staff and locals. Inside the pub, it's like walking back in time as well. It's decorated with traditional Irish memorabilia. It's a must visit really for anyone looking to experience a traditional but really authentic pub experience. They have this beautiful potbelly stove. I can remember, going in with my parents when I was a little fella, and I always saw this stove in the middle of the floor, and in the wintertime it would be red hot, but really unique, so it's really, really nice. And I suppose for those frosty Irish nights, it's a really, really creates a lovely, very, very nice atmosphere.
Oh, wonderful. And that makes me think I have a lot of people who say, I want to see the real Ireland. I want to experience the real Ireland. And my thoughts are always like, what does that mean to you? But I think this pub might just be exactly that real Ireland that so many people are searching for.
It's quite unique, and I know I've used that word a bit, but it is. I've been around the country, for many years, and there is nowhere like Morrissey's. It is really, the whole country seems to know it essentially. But there's really, and like if you take, you have the Preston House. It's a wonderfully restored 200-year-old Georgian property in town as well. A guy I went to school with called Ross MacDonald actually owns the place, has beautiful private courtyard. So it makes it a perfect place to unite, friends and family alike. But it also, you have independent shops, bakeries, restaurants, showcasing the best of Irish produce. And I suppose I have to get this in here as well. Abbeyleix is also the ancestral home of renowned actor George Clooney. So he did visit the little village here, Ballafin-de-Main, which is a 5-star hotel in the last few years. So it didn't make the headlines over here when he did visit. It also has a beautiful Abbeyleix Manor Hotel and a little eatery as well. And there's also a beautiful bog walk that adjoins the hotel, and it runs for around 4.5 kilometres. But it's like you're walking on the bog, but you're on the boardwalk, and it's absolutely spectacular as well. So I suppose Abbeyleix it would be number one to go to in the top three. And again, number two, I've already mentioned the Rock of Dunmace, definitely go-to destination in Laois. And Emo Court is just spectacular as well. So that's really worth visiting also.
I just think that just hearing these places from you and the fact that County Laois is relatively unknown, I think is probably going to excite a lot of my listeners, because not only are people really looking to feel like they're finding something or visiting someplace that not many people to Ireland get to experience, but it's going to give them so many unique insights and opportunities that they haven't heard about before. So I'm just really excited to hear these tips from you and learn more about the county, because it is one that so few people visit, and it has so many wonderful places and activities and attractions that can really enhance an Ireland vacation.
I totally agree, Jody. And I suppose being, I presume a lot of guests would be staying in Dublin. It's approximately an hour from Dublin, even from a day trip point of view, very, very accessible. You're getting to see the real Ireland, but you are staying off, I suppose, the real busy tourist attractions like Killarney, which is further south, Galway, which is further west. So, I suppose it does have a lot going for it in that respect.
So we should probably also mention that you do offer day trips out of Dublin.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
And you would be the optimal guide to take people around and experience County Laois.
Yes, we can certainly look after, any clients that wish to come down for a day trip. Absolutely. That would be no issue.
Well, excellent. Aubrey, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, to share these amazing spots in County Laois, more information about the county, and hopefully, get people a little bit excited about visiting some place that they didn't know about before.
Absolutely, Jodie, and thank you very much. And just worth noting there is leashtourism.ie. That's LAOIS tourism.ie. It's a very informative website offering highlights of events in Laois, and including 340 and counting festivals every year. So again, that's worth hitting on just to look it up, because there's a lot of information in there of things to do, and I think it'd be very informative for guests coming to Ireland.
Well, and we don't want to skip. How can people get in touch with you if they would like to learn more about your services?
Absolutely, Jodie. So if anyone wants to get in touch, our website is www.abelixchauffeurservices.ie, and Abelix is spelled ABBEYLEIX. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram at abelix_chauffeur_services. And you can use traditional email at abelixlimo@gmail.com.
Terrific. Well, again, Aubrey, I want to thank you so much. My listeners know that any links or information we've talked about, they can find here in the show notes, so they can get in touch with you very easily that way as well. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jodie. Very much appreciate it. My pleasure.
I hope you enjoyed that podcast episode with Aubrey Hutchinson there in Laois. I think that he shared so much information that you may not have heard before, or maybe just needed a little more inspiration for your trip. It was so much fun for me to talk to him and get those tips. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a 5-star review at Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you can't leave a review on your podcast app, you can visit Ireland Family Vacations on Facebook and leave a review there. Or if you're listening on your mobile device, snap a screenshot, head to Instagram, put that screenshot in your stories, and just leave me a few kind words tagged with @Ireland Family Vacations. If you have questions or comments, you can email me, Jody, Jody, @IrelandFamilyVacations.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, slán go fóill.